Hello and welcome to Candyman TV. My name is Connor McLeod, and in this very exciting interview, I talk with CEO of ProductEarth, Matt Clifton. In this episode, we talk about ProductEarth. Make sure and like and subscribe, and join me on Patreon, where you can help to build a stronger cannabis media platform. Now then, let's talk cannabis. Glad to have you on the show, Matt. This is dynamite.
It's great. So I've got this really annoying background noise as the gardeners are trimming this hedge. It has to be done because it's like a jungle out there. But yeah, apologies for that.
Not at all, not at all. I'm trying to edit that out if it comes in, but let's say I'm not exactly a magician, so we'll wait and see. Yeah, honestly, Matt, I've been really looking forward to this conversation. I was looking over the ProductEarth website. Absolutely exciting stuff for this year. And before we get dived into that, obviously, a lot of the viewers will be aware of ProductEarth anyway, but could you just give a background on yourself and how it got to where ProductEarth is at?
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, ProductEarth has been going, this will be our fifth show because it was supposed to be our fifth in 2020, but COVID. I joined the company. So I was at Facebook before moving into the world of cannabis. I was one of the first employees outside of the US. So I started in January 2008. I was there for 12 years, doing all different types of jobs, and ended up being head of product marketing for Europe, Middle East, and Africa for SMB, so small and medium-sized businesses. So I had to basically help these people use the platform in the most optimal way. And after 12 years, you know, jumping on planes, working ridiculous hours, you kind of think, it's time for the next step. And I had met a chap called Gavin Satyanathan whilst I was at Facebook. You've probably heard that name quite a lot because he's everywhere in cannabis. And I asked him for an investment opportunity, and it took him 2 years, and he came back to me and he's like, Matt, I've got the thing for you. And it was ProductEarth. And he was like, look, you know, it's the UK's largest hemp, CBD and cannabis expo. We like to pride ourselves on being kind of like from the community for the community. So that's what it is. We try to be a little bit different than rather than just talking about the plant all the time. We actually celebrate the lifestyle behind it. So this year you're going to start to see more examples of that. So simple things. In the morning, there's going to be canna yoga. What a lovely way to start the day.
Yeah, excellent.
I saw some guys. So I was there in 2019, but in a semi-professional way. I saw some guys skateboarding, and I was like, what a shame there's nothing for them to actually use. And so this year, dropping in a skate park from 414 Skate Parks, which we're really excited about as well. Were you there in 2019?
No, I wasn't actually.
Okay. So we had the main show, and then you've got the camping part, which is, you know, something that was quite unique to ProductEarth and that we like to continue every single year. And then we had in the grand arena, like music you would expect at a festival. We had more Chiba playing, Kabaka Pyramid, people like that. But it's a hard day at ProductEarth, walking around and seeing that everything that's going on in the world of cannabis. And people at the end of the day just want to go and hang out in the campsite. And so actually, for all of the money and effort to get that grand ring set up, it wasn't really worth it. So what we've done instead is we've picked up the entertainment, we've thrown it in the campsite. It's called the After Dark Village. This is the first one. Mills Nutrients are the sponsors, and James at Mills, I'm not sure if you've come across him, he is just bang into music. But we realize now from learning from the previous years, don't try and be a music festival because that's not what we are. Try and do things a little bit differently, be a bit more creative, a bit more innovative. And so we haven't announced the lineup yet, but one of the people on there is DJ Woody, and he does this kind of amazing scratching bit of videos rather than just the music. So it's going to be this kind of absolute showcase for your ears and your eyes. We're going to have fireside chats there. There's going to be nighttime stalls. We've got a new F&B supplier. Our food in 2019 was so shoddy. We know we're cannabis consumers, right? We love our food.
Yeah.
And also all aspects of food, because we have people that have very kind of prescriptive diets. We have our vegan community. And so we're now working with an award-winning food and beverage supplier that is going to be able to deliver stuff, which quite frankly, I can't wait to get up there and eat. We actually had a tester day in 2020 where we all went up to the NAEC and we brought Neil, who's the food and beverage guy, with us. He had a vintage fire truck and he was putting all the food out from there, and it was just absolutely phenomenal. We invited all of the staff from the NAEC out. It was a bit of a rainy day, but we all ate loads and loads of food, and we knew that we'd made some good choices there. What else are we going to have? Oh, gaming. So gaming is obviously a big part as well. So some of the people that are coming along are also going to bring some arcade machines and stuff like that. So After Dark is going to go off this year. And we've got the glass blowing at ProductEarth like we normally do. And then what this is becoming is kind of a weekend of festivals, if you like, because we also have our sister show called Feed Yourself, which happens on the same day at the same place. We keep them completely separate because ultimately Feed Yourself is all about growing your own produce and shortening the distance from farm to fork. And obviously with ProductEarth, we're talking about genetics and things like that you can buy. And just to keep the brand safe and keep people safe, we have them as two separate shows, because obviously we would never want to incite the cultivation of an illegal crop. Just
Certainly not there, Matt. Certainly not.
No, that'd be awful.
No, honestly, this is going to be brilliant. So we went to, this is the 23rd, 25th, is that right?
20th to the 22nd.
Right.
What I'll do for you, I'll create some promo codes for Canaman TV as well. So for all your followers, you can give them a 10% discount on tickets. They are selling like hotcakes. I mean, bearing in mind, we're still waiting for Boris to make his mind up on when we're going to go back to reality. The tickets are selling. We've got a little bit of space left with regards to the stands, but we are oversubscribed of the amount of people that have shown interest versus the amount of space we've got left. So we're working with the right kind of partners, which is really exciting. We've got, I'll let you in a bit of insider knowledge. This may all fall flat, but I'm really trying to get this off the ground. You've probably seen the stories out there at the moment about the quality of medical cannabis.
Yeah.
And how they, bud rot and all sorts of horrible things. And, we've got this far and now the product's just not fit for purpose. So the intention is to have a testing facility. So all of our patients can actually bring their medical cannabis with them. We can do a toxicology report, make sure it is what it is. Is that THC level really 18% or is it actually 6%? What's the CBD to THC ratio? Have there heavy metals in there? All of that kind of stuff. We're now going to be able to actually test when people come to the show. There's going to be a big focus on psychedelics this year. And so whilst obviously we can't encourage the illegal consumption of anything, we want to do what's right. And there will be a service there if something was to go wrong where people can be looked after. So we're going to be catering for those people that may be consuming psychedelics, just to make sure that they're doing everything in a safe environment. That's what we pride ourselves on, being a safe and trusted environment. And there's going to be a kind of a real feeling of medical cannabis. One of the people that we work with my agency, Milk and Amber, which is our growth marketing agency for the cannabis world, is Drug Science. And what they're doing with T21 is trying to create awareness of this registry where essentially medical cannabis patients can understand whether or not they are eligible and then get their medication at a subsidized price. But it's hard when it's a pandemic. No one's seen anyone face to face for so long. And so what a great way to really advocate for this process. And we're going to have people with the data. We're going to have Drug Science will be there. We will have the clinics there. We will have the pharmacists there. So people will be exposed to exactly what the medical cannabis process is all about. And hopefully we're going to break down a bit of the stigma because I want to see people that don't smoke cannabis at ProductEarth. Obviously, we love the cannabis people, but I think it's really important if we're going to move forwards, and this is going to be something that we want people to change opinions over, then we need to encourage those that are on the periphery to come to the show and learn what it's all about. I mean, one of the things we've been talking about is what a great opportunity it is for all of those people that have lost their jobs throughout the pandemic. The cannabis industry is about to boom. There are so many jobs. I mean, in the hydroponic world right now, it always happens. Every time there's a crisis, the hydroponic guys do really, really well. It's just one of those things. So what a great way to meet the people at the beating heart of the cannabis industry, then come to ProductEarth and speak to them yourself. So there's just so many different angles. It's all coming together. I can't wait to hug everybody and just have a merry old time.
Honestly, Matt, this is going to be so good. And the thing is, do you know what's so cool about this is that when you're describing all these different factors of ProductEarth, it seems to be all inclusive of every factor when it comes to cannabis and the as you mentioned, the periphery spectrum that are aware of cannabis but relatively timid towards approaching it?
Absolutely, absolutely. This is a welcome to all, because that's really what the cannabis community is all about. I think, you know, historically there's been a lot of angst. You know, what's the right way to get things legalized? Is it better to go to medical first and then to recreational? Is there such a thing as medical cannabis? Everyone has a point, everyone has a perspective, but I think ProductEarth plays a great role in bringing people together, and just help people understand that we're all fighting for the same thing here. And I can't wait. I'm really, really excited.
Yeah, I'm sure the viewers will be as well, Matt. This is really exciting stuff. One of the things, I mean, the High Roller World Cup, what is that?
Yeah, that was a little fun project. So this all happened at the end of last year. It was looking a bit bleak, to be honest. And James Walton, who's the founder of ProductEarth, he kind of said, look, we've got to do something for the community. It's, you know, we don't even know if we're going to be able to put on a show in 2021 at that point. And we've both been doing bits and pieces of like consultancy work, you know, everyone, because of my Facebook background. There's always people say, oh, mate, can you unblock my page? Can you do these things? I'm happy to help them out with that and all their kind of marketing strategy. And James has been helping. There's, you know, some distribution deals, getting new seed companies into the UK market and across Europe. And we're like, right, what are we going to do then? And James just said, let's do a rolling competition. So this, and I always refer to this as our Bumblebee project, because, you know, it's to say, I think it's been scientifically disproven that this is actually a thing, but I like it anyway. And the idea is a bumblebee scientifically shouldn't be able to fly because of the shape of its body and things like that. And you know, you've probably heard everyone struggles to advertise anything on Facebook to do with cannabis, even if it's completely legal, completely by the book. Yeah. And James is like, yeah, we're going to do this rolling competition. It's like, okay, all right, cool. Let's work out how to do it. And so we had two components. We had a speed rolling competition and we had a style rolling competition. We used a short stack integration where it's like a voting process. And I wasn't sure if we could do it. So I was like, okay, well, I'll roll a joint on my kitchen table and I'll post it on Facebook and see if the Facebook police shoot us down. And they didn't. And I looked at it 2 days later and I was like, wow, it's been seen 45,000 times. This is amazing.
Yeah.
So we quickly, you know, we got on the phone, spoke to a few people and we're like, look, we can do this. Do you want to sponsor it? Just so we could, because, you know, money's tight. Let's get this off the ground. And we had some great sponsors. It was great to get them some airtime on Facebook as well. And we got loads of entries. And then by 420, which was like kind of the grand finale when we closed it all off, I think we had like 1.3 million people we'd reached. The video content had been viewed like 600 or 650,000 times, just literally crushed it. And it was at that point, and James has always been saying we need to offer the community an agency of sorts, but there's so many different types of agency, like what exactly is it that we should be doing? Yeah. And it's that was when the penny dropped. It's like, we do know things about Facebook. We have relationships with people in Facebook that allow us to do things that some people can't. Let's create an agency. And that was what led to the birth of Milk and Amber. And the reason why it's called Milk and Amber, I'm sure you wouldn't know this because obviously this is all very illegal, but of course. When you harvest a cannabis plant, the farmer has that kind of personal choice of the ratio between milky to amber trichomes based on the kind of the level of various cannabinoids being produced. And that's what we offer, is this personal approach to growth. And that's why we're called Milk and Amber.
Yeah. High five on that.
We tie a lot of things back to cannabis in all the different ways, because actually ProductEarth is kind of now part of a Milk and Amber offering. You know, it's almost like an incubator. It's where people get to engage with the cannabis community. But it is only one weekend of the year. So now people are thinking, how do I get cut through in this kind of very cluttered and noisy marketplace? And that's now when they can come and speak to us at Milk and Amber. So it's almost like, you know, ProductEarth is kind of your germination tent. Then you start working with us on social media management, and that's your veg. And then when you're ready to flower and we start doing kind of real big media buys, customized content creation, all of the rest of it, that's when you're maximizing the most of what we have to offer. And we're looking forward to building great brands. And something that's really exciting this morning is we're in the process of signing a strategic partnership with Jared Mirsky and Wick and Mortar. So they are one of the first and the largest and the most awarded cannabis creative agencies over in the US. Obviously, there's things that we can do that really complement their work. There's stuff that they can do that really complement what we're looking to do. And we want to work with the best, because we want to offer the best service to the brands that we're working with. And working with Jared allows us to expedite the growth of the brands in the UK by understanding how we've been building brands in the US. And for Jared, he's got all of these more mature brands, albeit still in a very nascent world, that he can bring it over to the UK and Europe, and we're going to help him land those big brands over here as well. So it's a really, really great relationship. And we've got some other ones we're going to be announcing soon as well with regards to kind of production. We might even have some kind of like OTT stuff to talk about as well moving forwards, which we are very, very excited about. So we are, day by day, we have more to offer the cannabis community, and we are all very, very excited about it.
And rightly so, Matt. I'm extremely excited listening to this. I mean, I was looking over the website and I was excited listening to that. Honestly, I've got my ticket ready, man. I'll be on my way soon.
Yes.
I mean, what do you see? That's fantastic. You've got such a reciprocal relationship with people in America. What do you see in 12 months, 18 months time then for ProductEarth?
Well, do you know what? I just want to keep building. I want to be working with the right kind of people. There are bad actors out there, and there's bad actors in the cannabis world, and to be honest, there's bad actors in the Facebook world. We're not going to just say we're only doing Facebook. We do all forms of media. My background is 22 years of sales and marketing across all forms of media, so I want to make sure we're offering a true media mix. I don't want this to be like amateur hour where we're just doing one thing. Anyone that's doing marketing knows that you need to have a good media mix. I want to look into true MMM modeling. I think right now we are, if not the first, we are one of the first people to ever run a medical cannabis campaign on Facebook. So I want to be doing more of that, leveraging data to help improve the efficacy and access to medical cannabis. And I want to build some big brands. I want to make it more mainstream. I want people to understand the value of the cannabis consumer, because they're everywhere. Yeah. You're sat next to on the bus, it doesn't have to be someone who's, unwashed, sitting in the bus stop, smoking some horrible weed. That's not what the cannabis consumer is. They could be sat in a board meeting in a suit and tie. They could be absolutely anywhere. And so it's all about breaking down the stigma, getting access to high quality products in a trustworthy way. That's what we are. We want to be the good guys. We're going to try and stay out of the politics of it all. We're here to help everybody if they are the good guys as well.
Even the fact that, Matt, when you even said that about the testing the medical, the cannabis medicine essentially on site, that is a huge step, because that's one of the things that's been continuously in the narrative of maintaining third-party lab testing. It's very difficult for local people to do it, and it's like how you're supposed to maintain it in the corporate hand, whereas you're showing firsthand there's a very localized approach when it comes to cannabis.
Absolutely. And one of the things as well, I saw this really interesting story about Legoland, and this guy is basically, he wanted to consume his medical cannabis at Legoland, so he's got in touch ahead of time. And actually, they're quite forward thinking. They're like, okay, fair enough. The downside was where he was told that he had to consume it was in the smoking area, which I guess the knee-jerk reaction from an outsider looking in, that feels like the right thing to do, Yeah. But actually, you're taking a patient and you're putting them in the presence of toxic smoke. So that's not ideal. Yeah. So what we're going to be doing at ProductEarth as well, there's going to be posters up everywhere. Everyone, if you're a medical cannabis consumer, come to ProductEarth with your product. It is a safe place to smoke weed. So we're going to have posters up just encouraging people, obviously to be responsible, but they should feel very, very safe consuming it. And I'm hoping that, with all the pictures and the videos that come out, we'll kind of lead the way for others to think about how they can start to think about medical cannabis consumers, not as outcasts, but as someone who is part of their workforce that they may not have realized. And I don't think someone should have to hide that aspect of their life when they spend so much of their time working. Why should they have to hide such an important part of their life? So yeah, that's another thing that we're thinking about.
It's honestly, Matt, it's absolutely brilliant. And one of the things as well, just when you're talking about the fact that it's like you're going to have a psychedelic element involved there, is yes. a general social liberal approach to how society really should be functioning.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Science Fair are organising a lot of our seminar zone this year, as is Sam Cannon. I'm sure you've heard of him from Beyond.
Sam's a great guy.
He's everywhere as well. Yeah. So they've been organising what our seminar zone is actually going to be looking like. And so obviously there's going to be a lot of psychedelic content, but the guys at Drug Science as well, I believe they're going to be talking about cannabis and psychedelics, which is going to be great. Because I don't know, I feel like there's less of a stigma around psychedelics and there's more of a general interest because I think there tends to be more of a narrative around microdosing. So you think, oh, well, actually, this isn't about tripping balls. This is about actually like medicating yourself in with tiny doses. So I don't think there's as much of a stigma. I think there's more interest. I still think there's a lot of unknowns, but I can't wait to hear it. You know, I've only been in the industry for just shy of a couple of years, so I'm learning every single day, and I'm always open to learning. So yeah, it's going to be really exciting.
I think you touched on it there as well, Matt. When you talked about the brands, you're interested in building big brands, and it's quite funny because I've always thought it's always been present in the cannabis industry. There's a relatively antithetical approach to capitalist dynamic and then the basis of profit creation and all these different things. And I think it's because it's counterintuitive to nature. Cannabis comes into the hand of nature. But what is fantastic about ProductEarth is that you're incorporating both. We are in a society that's technologically evolved because of the economic structure, and yet we could use a sustainable element to encourage it to a more eco-friendly environment in the future.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things that we haven't really spoken about is the fact that we have this kind of hemp and sustainability component to everything that we do. Yeah. We're very lucky that Catherine Wilson, who's the vice president at the European Industrial Hemp Association, she sits on our board, so she is a wealth of good knowledge, and she helps shape everything that we're doing. And you know, we do need to be careful because I think we all want to think the best of the plant all the time. Yeah. But there are shocking statistics when you look at how some types of cannabis growth, the carbon footprint behind that is absolutely horrendous. Yeah. And so I think we need to be thinking about the right kinds of ways of growing the plant, whether it's going to be for medical cannabis, whether it's going to be for hemp and hemp plastics and all the rest of it, so that it is good for the environment. And that's a big awareness play. And I think we need to be honest and open that whilst this lovely plant has so many different uses and can be absolutely amazing, there are some less than good ways of actually leveraging it. So that's another big part that we're going to be talking about throughout the show. And I know Sam Cannon's he's got some really interesting work going on right now about how people can reduce their carbon footprint and get carbon credits and all of the rest of that. But I'll let him talk about that more because I think those wheels are turning, but I'm not sure if it's 100% in place yet. But it's that kind of work, the work that Sam's doing is absolutely fantastic. And anything that we can do to help along the way, we're certainly going to back those people.
You're certainly doing it already, Matt, honestly. So, I mean, is that going to be the hemp discussion that you're talking about there? Is that going to be included in that? Because I think, do you not have a hemp event that's also part of the ProductEarth?
Yes, it's all interwoven. So hemp is very much kind of in there. I think in 2019, we had Hempcrete there. It's not one of the most exciting things in the world, seeing a wall being built, but lo and behold, there was a crowd like it was a dogfight, everyone huddling around going, oh, what's this? Just some wall out of Hempcrete. And obviously we had the mattresses as well and kind of all these demonstrations. So yeah, we're looking forward to having all of our hemp guys back talking about, more sustainable ways of clothing ourselves, housing ourselves, and building a better environment for everyone.
I think the benefit with yourself, Matt, and ProductEarth is because it is obviously orchestrated and directed by people that are cannabis consumers, and I've had first-hand experience of the plant and hemp and the benefits of it. Just when you mentioned that as well there about the cannabis brands attempted to market, I mean, you really are preaching to the choir with that, Matt, because one of the issues when it comes to the channel is like, oh, you have no, I mean, you have every idea, but it's like like some mornings emails take 2 hours, and then you've got another research when you're talking to people, and then you're doing all the editing thing, and it's like the time your day's done, you're literally telling your next door neighbor that's your level of marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's really difficult. All these platforms are a nightmare, and the worst part is that your audience is on Facebook and Instagram. That is where you need to reach out to them. Arguably, TikTok and Snap as well. But I still think that Instagram and Facebook are the key places to go. But LinkedIn is providing a really interesting platform for cannabis marketing right now. They don't seem to be as heavy-handed as kind of the likes of Facebook. So this is something that we're helping people out with as much as possible, showing them both organic and paid strategies, how they can be safe. We even though there's things that I can do because we're verified now, so I'm verified as a social issues and political advertiser on Facebook, which means that I have far longer review periods to go through. But ultimately, I can talk quite openly about cannabis because it is a social issue. But that doesn't mean I can say smoke cannabis and it's going to cure your cancer, because that's just rubbish. And I think that's the problem. I think it's as Spider-Man would say, with great power comes great responsibility. Yeah. You have to be balanced with what you're doing. You can create awareness about the fact that medical cannabis is available and CBD, and you can talk about what good practices are for the manufacture of these things, but you can't make unsubstantiated claims. And that's difficult because that's all you want to do. You want to say, hey, yeah, this is going to make you sleep really well, but you aren't actually allowed to say that. Or you've got your tinctures and it's like, oh, I want to talk about my tinctures. You're not allowed to because you aren't allowed to have anything ingestible on Facebook or Instagram. So there's different ways to position all of these different things. I've heard some interesting approaches involving using other herbs and ingredients in your CBD products and actually talking about the benefits of them, like turmeric and stuff like that, and rosemary and lavender and how that helps you sleep, and then not really talking about CBD. But I just feel like that's a shame. You manufactured a CBD product because you believe in CBD, and then you're not even allowed to talk about it like you want to. So that's what we're working on still. But it's there's certainly progress being made. Every time I look on LinkedIn, someone else has had another breakthrough, and I like to think that we're having a few breakthroughs as well.
Thing is, it's funny that, Mark. I mean, you definitely are. Like, LinkedIn is actually, I've found the same thing. I've had more response through LinkedIn than any other social media platform, and I think it is because it's business orientated. Really rattled through essentially everything I was going to cover here. Is there anything else? Is there anything else you want to throw in before we get going?
No, like I said, I'll create a promo code for you so all of your followers can benefit from that. I know money's tight coming out of the pandemic for sure. But yeah, I mean, if anyone's got any questions, they want to speak to us directly, they can reach out to us on any of our various properties, whether it be Milk and Amber or Product Earth, or even Feed Yourself. We're on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and everywhere you expect us to be. And I'm happy to answer any questions that people may have. But I would do a shout out that if you are interested in exhibiting, please get in touch soon, because James is rattling through all of the sales. And like I said, we've got more demand than we have space at the moment. We want to make sure we're working with the best possible people that are going to put on a great show for all of those that are going to be visiting. So yeah, looking forward to seeing everyone there. And I really appreciate you taking the time to speak to me.
Thanks to Matt for giving me his time. And thanks to you for sticking around until the end of the video. I sincerely hope you enjoyed the content. I'll see you next time.